All right, good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all to this meeting of Annapolis County Council. We're going to start off with roll call. I'm going to ask you to say your name when I call your district number. District 1.
Prout.
District 2.
McDonald.
District 3.
Wayne Fowler.
District 4.
McNeil.
District 5.
Gregory Hemming.
District 6. Thank you. District 7 is myself, Timothy Abinski. District 8.
Michael Gunn.
District 9.
Wendy Sheridan.
District 10.
Martha Roberts.
And District 11.
Diane LeBlanc.
Thank you very much. You have the agenda before you. I'd ask for, Carolyn, go ahead.
I have two things. I would like to add to the agenda under in-camera C, personnel.
Okay.
And I would just like to note as well that when I was assembling the agenda package, although I included 6A South Mountain Internet, the attachment didn't get inside the agenda package. So it has been emailed to you about 20 minutes ago.
Yes.
And that and the warden will be talking to that when that comes up.
Thank you, Carolyn. All right. Could we have a motion to approve the agenda, please?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor Long, seconded by Councillor McNeil. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. We have 3 sets of agenda minutes to approve. We first August the 18th of 2020. Could I have a motion to receive to approve those minutes? Moved by Councillor Fowler and seconded by Councillor Hemming.
McNeil.
Any errors or omissions that you noted in those minutes? Councillor McDonald.
Yeah, I made a note of page 10.
Sorry, folks.
It's all right. Page 10, second paragraph says, Councillor McDonald noted that he does not feel he has an interest in this matter. I have a big interest in the Middleton Railway Museum, but it should read, he has no conflict of interest. You see that second paragraph under Municipal Council, August 18, 2020? That's all. And I don't remember asking the solicitor to comment, but I don't care if it's there or not.
Folks, pardon me for one moment. My dog is freaking out because someone's pulled into my driveway. Let me just take me a second. Apologies. Sorry, this is Fergus. My father just arrived and he's using the tools in my shop for a minute or two, so there may be some barking at intervals. Sorry for that, folks. All right, so has the error already been caught, Councillor McDonald?
I believe so. I see Carolyn nodding, so I'm happy with that. I like her nods.
Are there any further errors or omissions you noted, folks? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Next, we have our minutes for our special council held on August the 21st. A motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McNeil, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Any errors or omissions you noted in those minutes, folks? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. And finally, we had our special council from September the 8th. We have a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Councillor McDonald and seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Any errors or omissions in those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Let's move on to councillors' comments, and we will do councillors' comments by district, if that's all right, folks. We'll start off with District 1. Councillor Prout.
Thank you very much. Just a couple of observations. Our schools have opened up and everything seems to be quiet on the COVID-19 front. We're continuing to watch the numbers in the province, and so far, so good. I don't like to say too much for fear of jinxing that issue, but around District 1, a lot of folks are looking to finish up the harvesting from their gardens. Pleased to note Gravenstein apples are available at Spurs Farm Market and Goucher's Farm Market. And the cooler weather and the little bit of rain that we've got have been greatly appreciated. So, as we say, ever onward. Thank you. Did anyone get that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
You good?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I'm back now. Thank you.
Timothy's muted there.
Okay, my apologies for the gong show apparently taking place at my home this morning. District 2.
District 2, I prepared something and sent it to the center of the universe. I wish to express my thanks to the residents of District 2 for allowing me to represent you at your local government the last 4 years. Your wish for quality internet is approaching our doorsteps. Your wish for more jobs is also on the horizon with Gordonston, Nova Scotia. My wish to represent you at government another 4 years to see these projects and others through to completion. That's my wish. Beyond District 2, beyond the County of Annapolis, I'm using my experiences of 35 years as a railroader to help the Middleton Railway Museum realize their dream of obtaining a 1905 vintage steam locomotive in front of the museum. And lastly, as a basketball coach of 30 years and this year's high school provincial championship team, I know the challenges of leaving one's comfort zone to be the best one could be. So now I wish to applaud this 2016-2020 County Council and staff for doing exactly that. For extending outside their comfort zone to bring the county this internet initiative, Gordonston, Nova Scotia private school, on top of all the other amazing work. Just thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. District 3.
Canvassing for the election has been a positive thing for me, but there is a lot of misinformation, especially the one in which says stop financial mismanagement on his election signs, which is not true. What a thing for him to say with our past balanced budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fowler.
Oh, and another thing.
Yes.
I'd like to say congratulations to Wendy Sheridan and Mike Gunn for them to be able to go in by acclamation.
Thank you very much, Councillor Fowler. All right, District 4.
Yeah, I'd like to echo those same comments to Wendy and Mike. Congratulations. If you're not doing anything, I could use a driver. Anyway, I've been out knocking on doors of late here, and so far so good. There are some questions. I answer them the best I can, and I too look forward to hopefully serving District 4 again for another 4 years. Thanks.
Thank you very much. District 5, Councillor Hemming.
I'd like to read something I prepared, and I have not sent this to the center of the universe, but I will. In 1961, in honor of the Right Honorable Vincent Massey, former Governor General of Canada, CBC Radio co-sponsored with Massey College in the University of Toronto what was to become known as the Massey Lectures. Those lectures enabled distinguished authorities to communicate the results of original studies on the subject of contemporary interest. In 2004, novelist, historian, and essayist Ronald Wright delivered his lecture entitled A Short History of Progress. What stuck with me all the years since hearing Wright's lectures was the following notion that he said in relation to the climate crisis. He said, and I quote, "The future of everything we have accomplished since human intelligence evolved will depend on the wisdom of our actions over the next few years." It was this notion that motivated me first to run for council back in 2012. I wanted to test the idea that local government could add substantially to the body of wisdom that will somehow allow humanity to continue. I now believe that our municipality has demonstrated its willingness to do this by setting out strategy to, 1, produce and distribute its own sources of food, to produce and distribute its own sources of renewable energy, to initiate its own place-based educational system grounded in the humanities, volunteerism, and mentorship, provide safe, efficient, and affordable housing, to maintain clear air, water, and uncontaminated soil, and to initiate a municipal ecological forest strategy meant to preserve and protect significant forest land while creating local employment through value-added industries. All of those were to be understood in terms of climate change adaptation and mitigation as a direct response to citizens' demand to declare a climate emergency. I believe that the municipality of the County of Annapolis has demonstrated such a possibility. Now, as I near the completion of my final term as a municipal councilor, I acknowledge there remains work to be done. I believe the municipality must seek to identify new sources of revenue through the establishment of progressive partnerships with business and industry. They must be willing to defend and litigate such revenue streams from more senior levels of government and selfish corporate interests that will inevitably try to build a roadblock to such municipal innovations. It will require the municipality to find ways to redistribute wealth by raising taxes on those who cannot afford it and subsidize those who cannot, to build cash revenues far in excess of what the current province allows. And most importantly, the municipality must be brave enough to continue to hold necessary conversations with our residents to produce the local wisdom that will lead to a more hopeful future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. District 6, Councillor Morrison. Oh, I can't hear you, Councillor Morrison, but you don't seem to be muted. No sound. My apologies. You may have to try. Yeah, I think when you rebooted your computer last week, it did actually come back, the sound. Unfortunately, you may have to do the same procedure now. Okay. All right. Carol?
Councillor Morrison did forward his comments to me if he would like me to read them at this point. Well, if you're rebooting.
Excellent. Go ahead, Carolyn. Thank you.
Councillor Morrison attended a meeting of Cornwallis Park Community Association on Monday evening. Good discussion. Some of the topics discussed were comfort center operations, types of sanitizers, electronic voting, the hospice to be located in Cornwallis Park on land donated by ABCC, annual auction to be held October 3rd, apparent speeding in built-up areas by King's Transit buses, appreciation for signs declaring the new speed limit as approved by council, and resumption of some activities always in line with COVID-19 regulations. Upper Clements Hall will host an art show on 20 September from 2 to 4 p.m. The Clementsport branch of the Royal Canadian Legion has started detailed planning for Remembrance Day ceremonies in accordance with governmental and Legion Dominion Command regulations and guidelines. Deep Brook Waldeck Lions Club held a successful poutine lunch and yard sale on 5 September. Good to see all the masks, all who attended.
Terrific. Thank you very much, Carolyn. So it brings me to myself. You know, it's funny. Time moves slowly and then it moves really fast all at once. Sometimes in the course of the work that we're doing, it seems we spend an awful lot of time addressing roadblocks and obstacles, and we wonder if we're actually making meaningful progress towards a better position for Annapolis County. But over the course of the last few weeks, I've gone over the minutes for our meetings, for all of our meetings over the last 4 years, and a good number from the previous 4 as well. And a dramatic picture really begins to emerge as you do that. And you realize exactly how far we actually have come and how much progress we've made on so many files. I've compiled a list of about 30 different things that the municipality has accomplished, which are outside of the normal comfort zone for municipal operation. Our residents asked us to be ambitious. This is the list of the things that we took on as a result of deciding to be ambitious, deciding to do more. And I thought I'd like to read a few of the things. It's a bit of a trip down memory lane for a lot of us. One of the very first things, of course, is that we changed our council meetings and began to have them all videotaped and made available to the public. Prior to that, council meetings were closed meetings, and you couldn't, well, they were open to the public, but you couldn't even have a recording device in council chambers. So that was one of the big changes. An enormous change was we welcomed Bridgetown into Annapolis County, saving the town from a projected 32-cent tax increase. That's about $480 a year on the average Bridgetown home. The county had the capacity to make projects like the redevelopment of Centennial Drive finally happen. We held more than 60 public engagement sessions, averaging one every 6 weeks for 8 years. We took the public's direction to shape the content of our economic development strategy and strategic plan, our roadmaps to the future. We funded the creation of the Annapolis Valley Hospice in Kentville, making end-of-life care available to our residents without costly, exhausting travel to Halifax. We were the first municipality in Atlantic Canada to mount our own trade mission to China. We promoted our county's ethic of community involvement and environmental responsibility. And in 2017 alone, we saw nearly $1 million in new economic activity from additional international students in our county. We passed the C4 Clean Energy Bylaw to enable financing of energy efficiency upgrades on residential properties to work towards our goal of locally owned energy production. Every year in the last 4 years, we have increased our low-income property tax exemption and expanded the criteria for applying to make it easier for our most vulnerable residents to remain in their homes. We were the first municipality in Atlantic Canada to develop a comprehensive solution for high-speed internet, designed, and this was really key, designed so that even if we had no support from the federal or provincial governments, we'd still be able to finance the bill without burdening our taxpayers. Currently, both strand and fiber are being installed by Eagle Telecom, and the first clients will be hooked up to the service shortly. We provided a tower for wireless internet in Inglisville. After decades of community need, Annapolis County found a way to provide potable water and a comfort station for Bear River, and we're working with the province to see this critical service completed now. We are making the Gordonston International Private School a reality. We presented to officials at Gordonston on the history, community values, and natural environment of Annapolis County, and they offered to have the very first Gordonston franchise built right here. This development will bring in $60 million in annual economic activity, create more than 200 jobs, and provide impetus for new business development and expansion. All of this accomplished on a net zero campus that produces its own power and causes no environmental damage, a feature included in the design at our request. We funded the Fort to Fort bicycle lane from Port Anne to Port Royal. We implemented a whistleblower policy to protect whistleblowers within our municipality and ensure our own transparency. We added a well field to Bridgetown's water supply to ensure safe drinking water for residents. We participated with the province in the Bridgetown Regional Outdoor Sports Hub and will operate and maintain the facility when it's complete. We instituted the PACE Clean Energy Funding Program to provide residents with another way to finance energy efficiencies and generation for their homes. We competed for and won the chance to be the first rural municipality in Canada to host a meeting of the Federation of Canadian Municipalities Board, focusing the attention of the nation on Annapolis County. We built and installed floating docks at Jubilee Park at the Annapolis Royal Causeway to promote recreational use of the river. We provided a $5,000 PA system to the residents of Annapolis Royal as a gift to assist them with their public events. We hosted trade delegations from China and arranged meetings with local export-ready businesses. We formed a forestry advisory committee and invited industry experts and environmentalists to help us develop a smarter economic and ecological model for forestry in our county to avoid clear cutting. Our Annapolis County Forestry Report 2019 was acknowledged by Dr. Leahy as an inspiration for the report that he prepared for the province on the same concerns. We organized and hosted Annapolis County's first local climate change action summit, at which community leaders and residents presented the solutions they had developed to address local implications of climate change. Arising from both our forestry report and our local climate change action summit, we have developed and applied for federal and provincial funding for a low carbon heat project at the Fundy YMCA and Basin View Conference Center. This project will both dramatically reduce carbon emissions for the municipality and enable woodlot owners to sell their low-quality timber to the county for processing into wood chips, alleviating the pressure to clear-cut their land. We proclaim July 16th as Black Micmac Day, the first recognition by any level of government of this historically and culturally unique community. And we continued with all vital operations during the COVID-19 pandemic, including adopting an entirely new electronic election process to keep our residents safe. And all of that is above and beyond the normal meetings, committee meetings, agendas, budgetings, auditing processes, grants, and the regular work of the municipality. And all of that was accomplished with 8 balanced budgets and a 1.5 cent tax increase over the course of 8 years. We've made really significant progress, and every person in this room should feel proud of having contributed to the progress that we've accomplished on behalf of our residents. So we've come a long way, and I'm really happy to look back and realize that despite some of the difficulties we faced, we have made a really significant difference to the municipality. Apologize for being so long. District 8.
There we go. Well, good morning, folks. And first of all, I want to thank the folks in District 8 for allowing me to serve them again for the next 4 years. Now, whether at the end of it, the county will thank them, I don't know. That's a bit of a pun there. And I don't have to do the electioneering that I hear going on this morning, and that's good for me. The last month, listen, I've been fielding questions about the fiber optic build and how we're going to get it out to District 8, and people are still concerned about and feeling a little hard done by. They have great faith that because Bear River's getting it, that it may come through Virginia and into along the road there. So I've been also getting a lot of questions out of Bear River about the not just the comfort station, but the sidewalks in Bear River are a mess. And I'll be working hard over the next few years to push for some change there. Actually, new sidewalk up through Bear River, and I'll be pushing for that. I've also been fielding a lot of questions about the roads out south and who actually looks after them. And a lot of the roads out south don't get looked after very well. So somehow or other, it's in that back country. It's between Queens County, it's between Annapolis County, and although we did get a letter saying that it was Annapolis County that looked after them, they don't look after them very well. So I got to get after them on that over the next while. This is my electioneering, I guess. The questions on the school and how it's being financed, I get questions on that all the time. How is this getting paid for? We're into this, going to be into that for that. Not everybody's all excited about that. I'll move on from that. And and the other questions I'm getting is, how's council actually meeting and anything getting done? I get a lot of questions about that and wondering if actually anything's actually happening because we're meeting by Zoom meetings. And I say, we do tackle the major problems that are going on, but there's a lot of small things that don't get dealt with. And the questions about oh my God, the cottage bins. Listen, they're just coming back and biting us nonstop. The cottage bins, people are locking them up. We understand why, but it's really quite a thing that's going to have to be tackled over the next few years, how we're actually going to deal with it, because every year it's call after call after call about cottage bins. Now, other than that, I'm going to stop going on because I really didn't prepare a text. I just want to say I'm very pleased to have been in by acclamation, as you all were. It saved me probably $1,000 in signs and the rest of it, and 3-fold brochures. And I also want to tell you all this. I don't know who will be back other than Wendy. It'll be a pleasure working with that. And of course, all you administration will see you anywhere. But I got to tell the rest of you, is whether you win, lose, or draw, it's been a pleasure working with you all. It's been trying by times, but by God, it has been a pleasure. And I've learned a lot from all of you. So with that, I'll shut up. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Gunn. District 9.
First of all, I'd like to extend my appreciation and thank you to the residents of District 9 for my acclamation as well. It's been a pleasure serving them, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years. And I also want to wish all my colleagues all the best in their upcoming elections. It has been a pleasure working with you all, and hopefully we'll see most of you back. It'd be great. And Councillor Hemming, extend my best wishes to you on your future in what you choose to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. District 10. Councilor LeBlanc.
First, I would like to remind everybody about the fish and chip that the fire department's putting on at the exhibition on the 3rd and 4th. It's very good, well organized, and I hope they have a numerous support as they did the last time. The other topic I would like to chat about is this spraying in Ingesville and Paradise. I've had a lot of calls. I've had a meeting with the village, and the spraying will take place in their watershed. And it is a huge concern to the village. They have proceeded to write letters to the different ministers and our MLA. I've been encouraging the residents to do the same. My phone calls I've received, I've encouraged them to do the same. Call your MLA, write letters. It's a serious thing that is going on, and especially when it takes place in a watershed area that people rely on. And we need to do everything as council that we can possibly do to get this stopped. And I thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. And finally, District 11. Councillor LeBlanc.
Well, good morning. I've been busy on the campaign trail and meeting all our new residents and new ones that have moved in the area. And I've listened to all the concerns, and one of the main concerns, well, there's a few, but it's just going back to school, especially with parents that have small children, because some have children that have allergies or some kind of immune system. And they're concerned with the fact that they're not totally told to wear their mask. But as we know, little ones are little ones, and they can wear masks to a certain point, and then unfortunately they don't understand completely, and it goes, or it get wet and whatever. So it is a concern still with the parents as far as the students being in school for the little ones. There's been lots of productive and informative conversations with the residents of District 11 so far. They've come up with new ideas and gave me some information of maybe we could think about this and we could think about that. And I've made a list, so eventually, if it comes about, I will share the list and at a future date. The one concern that has been brought to me recently is the actions of some particular people on the King's Transit users. I received an email from a concerned citizen. She rides the bus down the other end, and a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, some people who come on the bus and use the bus are not wearing masks. And she is quite concerned with the fact that the bus driver is not telling the people that are on the bus there's mandatory wearing masks on King's Transit. So this is a concern that I'm going to have to speak more to with the King's Transit Board and go from there. I would like to say good luck to everybody on the campaign trail. And I'd like to congratulate the two counselors that are acclaimed, Wendy and Michael, as well as I would also like to say to Councillor Hemming, it was a pleasure working with you. It was always great debates, always a great atmosphere, you will be missed. But I'm sure I'll see you around because I'm sure you can poke a couple things at me if you see me down on the walking trails or in your neck of the woods. In any case, good luck in your future endeavors, and don't be a stranger. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, with that completed, let's move on.
Anybody hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Councillor Morrison.
Thank you.
All right. Councillor Morrison, Carolyn did read your comments. Is there anything you'd like to add now that we have you in person?
Well, I'd like to take 5 or 10 minutes, if I could, to express my appreciation to Carolyn, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you.
Let's proceed now with business arising from the minutes. First, it's the AM 2.7.9 COVID-19 response policy. Deputy Warden.
Okay. Pursuant to 7 days notice having been given at August Council, I move Municipal Council approve AM-2-27.9 COVID-19 response policy as amended to remove the words personnel in sections 5.2.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor Fowler. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. And let's go on now to AM 1.4.4 Comfort Centers and Shelters Policy.
I move pursuant to 7 days notice having been given that Municipal Council approve AM-1.4.4 Comfort Centers and Shelters Policy.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor DeLeon. Discussion on the motion. Deputy Warden.
And I'm just, I guess, following up that this policy will be sent out to fire services. Yes? Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Any further comments? Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. Yeah, the fire services and the halls are all going to receive a copy of this, right?
Yes.
As well, right? All of the halls, any place that could be.
That's right.
I've been passing it around to all of them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. So now we're going to move on to the next item. And for this, I'm going to ask if the Deputy Warden would assume the chair for the purpose of this motion.
So I need to ask, we were informed that email was sent out to us. I never received it.
Okay. Let me see. Let me just check my own email to see if it arrived here.
May I ask a question?
Yes, please, go right ahead.
We are on page 32, and are we looking at a specific motion?
That was the issue. The motion was submitted to be included in the agenda, and it's listed in the agenda items, the front, but the actual motion itself with the preamble should have been there, and it's not. So it was circulated at 9:44 by Carolyn. So if you look,
we're talking about the South Mountain Internet one?
South Mountain Internet. So if you,
I did get it.
Yeah.
I did receive it as well.
Mm-hmm. I haven't.
Sent to all councillors. Well, if you'll assume the chair, I'll read it for you in a moment anyway.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
South
Mountain Internet.
Thank you very much. So the South Mountain Internet issue, of course, is an issue that we've all had. A number of us have had constituents who've contacted us about this. I'll read the motion, and we can have a conversation that can resume afterwards.
What?
It's always been the stated intention of the municipality of the County of Annapolis to extend the reach of its internet project as rapidly as possible to every possible residence. The business case of our core backbone fiber build provides for expansion as revenues for the system increase year after year. However, we acknowledge the concerns of residents whose homes are not included in the initial build. If the municipality had an unlimited budget, the first phase would have included the entire municipality, but we had to work within our means. I propose that the municipality explore every option offered by provincial funding to bring true high-speed residents high-speed internet to our residents as rapidly as possible. The province may or may not agree to fund fiber to more remote communities, but we both can and should make the request. Accordingly, I move that the municipality of the County of Annapolis submit a two-part application for internet funding to the province of Nova Scotia. We would request that the province provide funding to extend fiber optic-based internet to remote communities, including but not limited to Springfield, West Dalhousie, and Milford. However, should the province decline to provide funding for fiber optic-based internet, we would ask that they instead provide funding for a rapid deployment of true high-speed wireless internet for these same communities.
Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Morrison. Any discussion? Councillor Sheridan.
So in regards to the Springfield, West Dalhousie, and Milford, there is a community section in my district, and it's Nicktaw South. It's from this part of the South Mountain out towards Springfield. Is that included in this list as well?
Yes, that's why I said including but not limited to. So what we would want this to do is to take in all the communities on South Mountain that we've not been able to address, and they would all be addressed in the course of our intentions and our plan right now. But if they'd like to see an acceleration of what we're able to do, that requires outside funding. So this would be a way to provide to try to obtain that funding for the province for a more immediate deployment.
That's great. Thank you.
Councillor LeBlanc and then Councillor Gunn.
I guess I was going to ask the same thing because I do have a section on my mountain as well in the Torbrook area, Bloomington area, that also needs to be part of this. And it would be nice maybe to include that so that the residents can see in writing that we are definitely not going to be forgetting about those areas at all. So if we could add these on, I would be grateful.
Certainly.
Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. Listen, there's nobody that would like fiber optic and internet, good internet service of South than me. You know, I deal with this all the time. People are calling me, when are we going to get it? And I think it's great that we're looking in that direction. But you know, Bell's putting it through Maitland Bridge, or brought it through Maitland Bridge as far as the bridge. So we've got one part of Maitland Bridge that doesn't have it. So now Bell's taking care of out south. And Eastlink has a line somewhere sitting dormant here in the valley through there. That may be part of what Bell's picking up to, you know, when they're taking it into Bear River and up through Clementsville, a part we didn't get. I mean, that's where they're taking it up there, and I'm quite sure they're going through to Lakeel. What's really missing, I believe, with all of this internet thing is some coordination. Annapolis County's hooked up with Eagle Telecom now, and we're doing our thing. Bell's doing their thing. Eastlink's doing something else. Well, we really don't know who is, you know, servicing and actually putting internet in the county at this point. And I think that it's time that somebody start getting a hold of these organizations, not just Annapolis County, and who's doing it, Eagle, not just, you know, Bell, all of them. Get all of these people together in a room and say, what the hell is going on? Because we really don't know where a lot's going to get fiber or not get fiber and the rest of it, right? We don't know. So I think there's got to be some coordination before we start making a lot of, you know, I think this letter's a good thing, Timmy, don't get me wrong. You know, send it out there and make all the noise we can. But the long and the short of it is we need some coordination in this service delivery in not just Annapolis County, Southwest Nova. Government's not doing it. Thank you, that's all I got to say.
Warden.
Thank you. Just wanted to note that the Councillor Gunn's observations have a measure of accuracy to them. There are builds that are taking place elsewhere in the county, But that's partly why the process that we adopted in order to move this project forward was a design build, because a design build provides you with flexibility, allows you to adjust course to avoid stepping in somebody else's footsteps. And I know that process of small adjustments is taking place all the time right now as staff coordinates with the company that's actually conducting our build. I certainly would anticipate that the exact same care and coordination would take place with any further building that would extend into South Mountain. And I think probably John has some word or two to say about that too.
CAO?
Yeah, just we don't have detail on what Eastlink may be doing or not may be doing. We know that Bell Alliant received funding from Develop Nova Scotia and have been approved to do certain areas in the county. Bell has been communicating with us, and we've been posting the information on our webpage of where they are. And we just received the latest, I think, just a few days ago, and I believe Janice has already posted that. And Bell is also communicating. We're really, we can't demand anything from anybody because they don't have to tell us what they're doing. But Bell has provided some information on 3 areas of where they're building fiber. And we're sort of watching that build and trying to adjust our build so that we're not in competition with it and we can move into other areas. And that's our focus. But that's it's not a static process. That's moving, and it's a moving target for us. And so we're looking at that on a regular basis.
Any more discussion? Councillor McDonald.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Deputy Warden, but thank you, Mr. Warden, for bringing this motion today, and hopefully we can extend our internet build to all 4 corners of our municipality sooner than later. It's always been my intent, and I thought the intent of the entire council, to eventually get quality internet to as many people in our county as possible. I don't believe it was ever our intent to neglect anyone. I applaud this motion, and let's send a letter. Thank you.
Councillor Gunn.
That just occurred to me. With this motion, a 2-part application, is that gonna like add more to the table, or is that something that's easily a 2-part, these applications to fill in? I mean, it's all good, but is that gonna take like put more pressure on staff? That would be John's.
The process will require some technical knowledge. You have to be able to strongly estimate what the cost of the project is, which will require some discussions with expertise in the field. And then when you submit that, there's a process in how you submit and who you're working with. So you'll have to work with an ISP, and we have to bring that all together. So we have already been in discussions. We actually were preparing to submit in the last round, but the format was not conducive to the ISP, and they frankly couldn't afford to go in that direction. So we're hoping this round will be a little different, and I believe it is, and we'll be applying. But our concern is that Develop Nova Scotia is really funding. They're not so much into wondering about what technology you're using. They're more interested in making sure that you guarantee the minimum speeds. And they list those minimum speeds, and I do not think they exceed 50 megabits per second. That's the minimum. And if that can be met, then Develop Nova Scotia will fund it. The question is, for the fiber optic, which is really the crown jewel of internet, I would suggest it's more expensive, and the speeds offered can be much higher than the minimum. And we will apply. Our concern is that we don't want it to be rejected because it's too expensive. And if there's some sort of hybrid that we can come up with or something else, we're open to it. And, but we also want to have a plan B so that we do get funding so that we can bring service to those areas as soon as possible and with super high speeds. But we're just not sure what we'll get for funding. And the whole issue has really been about money. And the plan to go there has always been there, but it's the cost that is something that has to be weighed as we move forward.
Councillor LeBlanc?
Yes, I would like to put a motion to add to your motion our areas of Torbrook, and I don't know if we put it as a whole community, Torbrook and South Mountain, and then just to add those two to the end of your. I can't see the motion. That's looking here. I get two things going. So if that could be done, I agree with it. However, I'd like to see them in print.
What is the second one? I heard Torbrook. And
I said Torbrook or the South Mountain. So that would involve Torbrook Mines East.
Torbrook has already been a part of our discussions.
Yes. So how you can phrase it as Torbrook or are you Bloomington Road or South Mountain complete?
If councilors want to send in their roads, please do. We think that we'll have it all covered, but please send them in if you have any suggestions, and we'll make a more solidified response to those roads and areas that council wants in.
Yes, because our residents want to see it. If they see it in print, they know that they're not being forgotten.
I agree.
At all.
Okay.
So, okay.
Put them all in there.
Yeah.
Councillor Sheridan?
Well, I just wanted to bring up that when we first made the announcement 4 years ago, we did say that it was for all residents to be connected at some point. And we do have towers purchased and put away. So when are these towers going to start going up, or any knowledge of any of that being in the up and coming for these South Mountain areas that can't be reached by fiber? Or?
So it's a great question, Councillor Sheridan, and even a part of our revenue plans associated with the original fiber optic build is that we were always going to reinvest in the structure so that we would extend it out, and the South Mountain was a part of that rationale of why we wanted to do that. What was the second? That was the second part of your question. What was the first part of your question again? Sorry.
Just regarding the towers that we purchased.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So the towers that we purchased, we've even had discussions over the last couple of years with landowners. They've approached us saying, put it on my property. I'm the highest point. And so we have cited, and we have a good understanding of where towers need to go in order to give the best reach and service areas. The difference that our core build brings is that we can bring fiber directly to a tower, and we can give it the necessary backhaul so that the wireless signal is extremely robust. So we have that ability. But some people don't want that. They want fiber. And in some cases, we can bring fiber to one tower and beam a signal, a laser beam, to another, and then drop fiber again. And so perhaps a hybrid. I don't think we'll be able to get every single home fiber, and not in the near future. Eventually, I believe it's possible, but it's just the affordability of it more than anything. And it's a less densely populated area. And part of the reason why it was not in the original fiber build was because we were advised that the pole attachment fees, which is regulated by the UARB, kills the business case. So it's all those poles those fees that you have to attach to all those poles before you get to a property, and that has to be calculated in the business case. And that was the original issue. But there are solutions, and it can be a hybrid solution, and that's always been our plan. But we've been so focused on the present build and all our efforts, paying attention to that right now. It is a little bit of extra work to get the other things done, but we know it's important, and we'll do it.
Yeah.
Warden?
Thank you. Just to reinforce what John had said earlier, the intention of this is to try to bring as rapid a solution as we possibly can to the various communities which weren't addressed in the initial build. So I would ask that each councillor, if you're aware of specific streets or specific communities in your own districts that weren't able to be addressed by the initial build, please do forward a list of those to the CAO, because we want to make sure that this application encompasses all of those communities. We don't want to leave any holes. And the goal of this is really about the art of the possible, to find out exactly what we could try to arrange funding for, but without removing any other options. So if the province will agree to fund the entirety of the build with fiber optic, that's marvelous. That's exactly what we want. That gets us right to the end goal. If, however, they decline to fund something quite that ambitious, we don't want to lose our opportunity to apply for other funding. That's why the two applications could go in simultaneously. So we try to get the very best system for as many people as possible, as rapidly as possible.
Councillor Fowler?
Yeah, my question, I guess, would be where there isn't fiber up and they do satellite it or whatever they do, dish it or whatever, will it be a good quality internet for that area to where it comes to fiber again? I guess the question's for John.
Sorry, someone just came in and handed me a document. Can you ask that last part again, Wayne? My apologies.
Yeah, well, I was just wondering if they're going to dish or whatever they do beyond the fiber to an area, will it be as good a quality from there to where it's fiber again?
I'm not quite understanding.
Well, will the internet be as good a quality as fiber?
Oh, okay, I see. Our discussions is that we think that we can reach with the new wireless technology that's out there. It's more robust, and as long as you have a strong backhaul and you have you know what the number of homes you're going to be servicing, you can create the backhaul that provides continuous, solid internet speeds in the area of 80 megabits per second, and which is is still extremely fast. It's not gigabit service, but it is certainly nothing to scoff at. That's a significant amount of speed. Most people in some of their homes and units, and even in the system itself, some things don't travel any faster than 50 megabits per second, and it doesn't matter what type of service you have. So there are, there's technology that uses the internet, and its ability to upload is slower, and so that your ability to download that is slower. And you can't help it. That's just a part of the way the system works.
Over here in Port Lauren, they're doing.
But it's robust, Wayne, Mr. Councillor Fowler. It's definitely a more upgraded, robust system in a wireless format. The big thing is that it has to. The line of sight is so important, and that means you may have to put more infrastructure in order to meet the line of sight. And non-line of sight. The technology does get through a bit of trees, but not a lot. And we have large canopies of forest all over the place. So line of sight is important. And perhaps if we can laser beam from one tower to another, we can drop and build fiber. It may be the most cost-effective way in order to get the service. But all that has to be determined in a specific application describing exactly what systems you plan on using throughout, and whether or not we'll get that funding. And I think we have to have a plan B ready, because if we don't, we may not get any funding. So that's something that we have to be concerned with as we go forward.
My question would be from Port Lauren Road to the Britton Road on the Arlington Road. There are 7 homes which will not be getting fiber, which I can't understand why fiber couldn't go to them 7 homes where it's only a quarter mile. And that would just make the whole block would be fiber, that's all.
Yes, and we anticipate some circumstances throughout the county, just depending on where somebody lives, they may be far enough off a regular road or maybe on a private road or something that our intentions are to bring fiber. But if it's not cost effective, if we find something that's not cost effective, we'll be looking for another solution, obviously. And the goal is to get them internet.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion? I am in support of sending this application. If we have to apply for provincial money to make sure that all residents are equally serviced, I'm in favor of that. I do know that being out and about, that Bell is working in the South Mountain area, particularly from what I hear is New Albany and parts of Springfield. And I thank them for that. It's very important to the residents. They've struggled with no internet or lack of service. And here we are in the times that we're in when we have children home trying to do their school online, work from home. And that area is just as busy with those particular topics as the Valley is. Everybody has to work from home or is working from home. And yes, we did put a tower in Ingesville, but to my understanding, it does not service Ingesville. Is that not Beam to Beaconsfield? Because go ahead.
It beams easterly and then southerly. I'd have to double check and get back to you exactly the direction it's in. But no, it doesn't cover everything. No, it's a directional system.
Right. And the residents up there were pretty happy that it was going in because they were under the assumption that it was going to help service them. And I'll just be excited when we have a better plan to how we're going to service these surrounding areas. And I would really like to see on our map them included and it not be green. Thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. I'll hand it back over to the warden.
Thank you very much. All right, let's proceed now in that case to reports and recommendations. And sorry, Deputy Warden, means I'm going to be handing it straight back to you. Have a sip of water.
The Artist Circle of Annapolis Valley. In accordance with the recommendations of Committee of the Whole, I move that Municipal Council approve a grant in the amount of $2,000 from the Capital Projects Assistance Program, Small Project Matching Grant, to the Artist Circle of Annapolis Valley Cooperative Limited to assist with replacing windows to the Artist Shack in accordance with AM-1.4.9 Community Grants Policy, pending verification of non-for-profit status.
Seconded by Councilor McDonald. Discussion on the motion. Deputy Warden.
And I looked into this because I was concerned because I have cooperative limiteds in my area. And from what I have found out, that when you send your registration into joint stocks, you have the opportunity to register as a for-profit or non-for-profit. And this particular group, when they sent their registration in, has applied for a non-for-profit status. And I was just doing my diligence and checking it out. And I totally understand it now. And apparently when their application is sent in, that paper is attached to their application. And I mean, the situation we're in, we didn't get to see the application. We saw parts of it. And I just wanted to explain how it works, so everybody is on the same page.
Thank you very much. All right, further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
Port George District Lighthouse Society. I move in accordance with the recommendation of Committee of the Whole, the Municipal Council approve a grant in the amount of $500 from the Community Heritage Grants for lighthouses and museums to the Port George District Lighthouse Society to assist with scraping and painting the lighthouse in accordance with AM-1.4.9 Community Grants Policy.
Seconded by Councillor McDonald. Discussion on the motion. Oh, no, wasn't seconded by Councillor McDonald?
Sorry, sir, I'm the president of that organization.
My apologies, I misread that, of course. Second in that case by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Bridgetown Lawn Bowling and Boats Club. Pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole, I move that Municipal Council approve a grant in the amount of $1,870 from the Capital Projects Assistance Program, small project matching grants to the Bridgetown Lawn Bowling and Boat Club to assist with the purchase of 6 new sets of club lawn bowls in accordance with AM-1.4.9 Community Grants Policy.
That's seconded by Councillor Fowler. Discussion on the motion. And I'll just start off by saying that I'm really glad that we're supporting this, but I would love it if somebody from this association would give me a lesson to show me exactly what quoits are. Because I've been curious ever since I first saw the game referenced reading The Hobbit about 40 years ago, and I've never known exactly how that game works, but I'd like to find out. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. So every year this organization comes to us and we fund it. So it's not part of our recreation thing. So does this make it so that any club can come to us and we can help them buy their gear? So if we have a club that's a fly flick fishing club and or I don't know, ring tossing club, does that open it for them to come for us to buy their gear for them?
We've
been doing it for years for them.
We've entertained requests like this for tennis clubs. We've entertained requests like this for soccer associations, so that this is not out of the way of the sort of what we normally do.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion, Councillor McDonald.
In regards to your request for some lessons, I coached basketball for 5 years in Bridgetown in the old high school, and one of the players I had, Mr. Braden Campbell, ended up being I believe the Canadian National Junior Champion of lawn bowls,
right,
belonging to the Bridgetown Club, and the Campbells of Paradise, large family of boys. Braden is one of them. I suggest you get a hold of them. There are some valuable lessons to be learned from Mr. Braden Campbell.
Thank you very much. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion? Sorry, Councillor LeBlanc?
We all need the lessons.
All right. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
AM-1.4.16 DeLapse Cove and Young Cove Coastal Policy. I move pursuant to 7 days notice having been given that Municipal Council approve AM-1.4.16 DeLapse Cove and Young's Cove Coastal Policy.
Seconder for the motion, seconded by Councillor Henning. Discussion on the motion. All in favor? Oh, Councillor LeBlanc?
Well, this has been new to our council, but we also have a policy that comes from the government on the coastal side of it, do we not? The government has some steps into how the coastal areas are developed or maintained or used.
John, do you know anything about how our policy might interface with other requirements from other levels of government?
I'm not aware of any conflicts. One is conservation driven, whereas one is development driven.
Okay.
I believe that you're referring to the new requirements by the province that Albert
Yes.
could give more details on in regards to development of coastal property. Because this is a conservation initiative, I don't know, I'm not aware of any conflicts.
Okay, great. Thank you.
For discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Annapolis County Athletic Society, in accordance with the recommendation of Committee of the Whole, I move that Municipal Council approve a grant in the amount of $5,000 from the Capital Projects Assistance Program, Small Project Matching Grants, to the Annapolis County Athletic Society to assist with upgrading the space and equipment in their new training space in accordance with AM-1.4.9 Community Grants Policy.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion for the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Citizens, AM-1.3.4, Citizens Appointments to Committees Policy. In accordance with, I move in accordance with 7 days notice having been given that Municipal Council amend AM-1.3.4, Citizens Appointments to Committees Policy.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor Fowler. Discussion on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
AM-1.3.5, Committees of Council Policy. Pursuant to 7 days notice having been given, I move that Municipal Council amend AM-1.3.5, Committees of Council Policy as amended to remove section 31 and 32.
Seconder for that motion. Seconded by Councillor Henning. Discussion on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
AM-1.3.5.1, Audit Committee Policy. I move pursuant to 7 day notice having been given that Municipal Council amend AM-1.3.5.1, Audit Committee's Policy.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor Prout. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
AM-1.3.6, Advisory Committees and Boards Policy. Repeal and replace. In accordance with 7 days notice having been given, I move that Municipal Council repeal AM-1.3.6 Advisory Committees and Boards Policy and approve the following replacement policy. AM-1.3.6.1 Ad Hoc Citizens Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.2 Annapolis County Planning Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.3 Heritage Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.4 Police Advisory Board Policy. AM-1.3.6.5 Bridgetown Source Water Protection Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.6 Bridgetown Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.7 Cornwallis Park Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.8 East End Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.9 Granville Ferry Source Water Protection Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.10 Habitation Community Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.11 Lake Katy Source Water Protection Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.12 Lake Katy Water Supply Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.13 Lawrencetown Water Supply Area Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.14 Margarettsville Source Water Protection Advisory Committee Policy. AM-1.3.6.15 Margarettsville Water Supply Area Advisory Committee Policy. And AM-1.3.6.16 Upper Clements Area Advisory Committee Policy.
Thank you, Deputy Warden. That's a lot to read. Do we have a seconder for the motion, please? Seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Chickasaw Playground Parking, Loricon Subdivision. I move in accordance with the recommendation of Committee of the Whole that Municipal Council direct staff to look into and report on acquiring additional property to developing a parking lot near the playground in Loricon Subdivision, Nicktoff.
Seconder for the motion, seconded by Councillor Sheridan. Discussion on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
Basin View Center Future Capital Decisions. Pursuant to the recommendation of Committee of the Whole, I move that Municipal Council defer future capital decisions on superstructure funding until Council formulates a strategy on the Basin View Center's building.
Seconder for the motion, seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion on the motion. All of Deputy Warden.
I will not be supporting this motion. My opinion is I do not believe we should be spending any money on the building until we have our structural facts in front of us to make a good decision on how we're going to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion? Councillor Sheridan.
So should we set a date to have a discussion on this? In the meantime, I'm sure the results will come back just so it doesn't get lost.
I think that once the results come back, we should probably call a special meeting of council right away. So I'd say let's make our discussion dependent on the time when we get the information back in. If that would be my suggestion.
We have no new information on that as of yet.
Stephen, has anything come in yet on this study? Yes.
We've completed the test pits, although the soils aren't great, they're not awful. So we're looking at going to the next phase, which is doing some boreholes inside and outside. We're just trying to come up with a strategy to get, it's a very small drilling rig, to get it down the handicap ramp and into the pool area. So we're working on that proposal and hope to have all that lined up with the cost estimates by the end of the week.
Okay. Thank you for that. Councillor Sheridan, yes?
So will that come forth to council, the proposals on how much it is before we do that?
Certainly, at the direction of the CAO, I have a certain budget already approved within the capital program. But when I have those numbers, I'll review them with the CAO. And if we need to have a special council meeting, I'll leave it with the CAO.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay recorded, please.
Thank you. Motion's carried. And let's go on to the next, which is options on filing. Go ahead.
CAO investigating options on filing class action lawsuit against manufacturers of glyphosate. I move pursuant to the recommendations of Committee of the Whole that Municipal Council direct the CAO to investigate the options to file a class action lawsuit against manufacturers of glyphosate.
Seconded by Councillor Fowler. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Morrison and then Councillor Kane. Councillor Morrison first.
You allied to this motion, of course, was the direction to send a letter, and we received a copy of the letter. And I've received some compliments on that action, both from within District 6 and from other districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hemming.
I was just curious if there's been any new information to John on the possibility of this. Is there any new movement there?
A municipality is capable of filing a class action. It would likely have to be with another individual or another municipality. You need at least two plaintiffs to file a class action. So from a legal perspective, I've been advised that it's possible. There's still a process when you file a class action, I think in improving as it goes along. And that would all have to be pursued.
Councillor Hemming still?
Yeah, yes, and I can tell you that there has been interest from several municipalities that are following this closely. So I think it may be possible somewhere to find another municipality to join in if that becomes beneficial.
Deputy Warden.
No, my question was answered.
Oh, good. Thank you. I would say that I've had a lot of email feedback because of the letter. I also had an interview on CBC that I think aired this morning at about 6:45, dealing specifically with this. So it certainly has caught the attention of the media. One of the questions that Fliss McGregor was asking was, how hopeful are you that you're going to see action on this? Because of course we have requested in the past moratoriums on clear cutting and the province has rejected them. And I suggest I think there's good reason to be hopeful that we actually will see action on this file, because it really puts in the balance profits for an industry versus potential impact on human health. And that's something that every elected official has to pay very, very close and careful attention to. So I think there's a strong chance that we're going to see a positive response from the province on this. Any further discussion?
Yeah.
Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. Yeah, on this glyphosate thing, I think it's a terrible thing. They've been dumping that around for years. And as we mentioned before in our forestry report, we mentioned at the last end of it that we didn't want to see the province use glyphosate, and that we didn't agree with Leahy that, they could use little small pockets of it. So, no, I'm all with you there. Now, whether we start a class action lawsuit against them, Little Annapolis County, I kind of do wonder about that. And as John says, it would take a couple of municipalities together. Perhaps if we could get Southwest Nova, all those municipalities that have Western Crown lands in it and such, then we can possibly do that. But on our own, I can't, I think it would take too much CAO time, to tell you the truth. And I think Annapolis County's got a lot more important things to be doing than just going after one company. I'm all for us, banning spray. Let's go on our own and say, we don't allow glyphosate to be sprayed in Annapolis County, period. We just don't do that. Whether we sue the company or not, let them sue us for not allowing them to spray it in our county, rather than us go after them and try to sue them for making it. And that's the way I look at it. Thank you.
Thank you. I certainly agree with your sentiment that it'd be nice if we simply could make a declaration ourselves. It's my understanding that it's not something that's within our authority to do, unfortunately. And so we really are reliant on our ability to advocate to the provincial government to try to have the policies changed, which is what we're doing right now. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you.
CAO gathering information on posting agenda packages to website. In accordance with the recommendation of Committee of the Whole, I move that Municipal Council direct the CAO to provide information on how best to post agenda packages to the website.
Seconder for the motion. Seconded by Councillor Hemming. Discussion on the motion. Deputy Warden.
Has there been is there an update on this, or?
Well, the motion's being made now, even though it was put on the books by Committee of the Whole, it wouldn't be acted upon until verified by Council.
Well, the previous motion was.
Which one?
True, but this is the official motion that directs us.
Okay.
We just start working on things as we've started working on this one as well. There's no report ready, but my understanding it was really more of an ability to be able to download what we put on the internet. And Carolyn was providing information to us on that particular item. We've tried it in the past. We're going to look at it, see what we can do. But my understanding, correct me if I'm mistaken, Carolyn, is that some people wouldn't have the ability to download it.
Probably the greatest amount of people would not be able to open and read the documents that we would post in a PDF. They just simply wouldn't have the speed or the capability, and then it would tie up their internet, and then they would just be angry.
Okay. Well, and
Go ahead. Sorry, Deputy Warden, I forgot you still have the floor. Please continue.
And it has been talked a lot about lately, and I mean, just my opinion, if we put it out there, who can reach to download it and use it will be a plus, because the issue we're in right now, where we are not in our council chambers, it doesn't give the public an opportunity to participate. And I think that we should do whatever we can to try and make something public. And if some people can download it, it's better than nobody being able to see it. And it has been a request of residents of Annapolis County, and I truly feel that it should be put on and at least be out there if the opportunity arises that they can download it and read it. Thank you.
We also provide, if somebody wants a copy, we will print a copy, and Carolyn has done that in the past. If you provide
Weekly.
who asked you for the documentation, we can see that they get it.
Something that occurs to me as a possibility, just in terms of technology, is you can compress files, you can zip them, and there's most people have access to the free applications that let you unzip compressed files. They're easy to find online, and that I think drops the file size quite significantly. It might make it possible. So that's something perhaps that IT could consider as they're looking at how to make this work. Councillor McDonald. No, I'm sorry, Councillor Fowler, then Councillor McDonald. Pardon me, Councillor Fowler.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that our committee, the whole package was 67 pages long, as I remember, and that's quite a bit to be able to do.
That's right.
167, yes.
Councillor McDonald.
If we're not able to add a zip portion to the agenda package, I would strongly encourage that we have agenda separate from the agenda package, and the agenda package with a warning saying the appropriate information that this may cause difficulties trying to download something so large, but you may download the agenda itself without
The agenda is posted for each meeting.
Thank you very much. As long as they remain separate, then individuals can have their agenda separate from the package. Thank you.
Further discussion, folks? Hearing none. Okay, Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. I kind of agree with Martha. You know that we should post it and give people the option of downloading it or not. As simple as that, because we can't get to offer a paper copy, right? How do you get a paper copy? You got to go to Carolyn's house now or pick it up. We're just more people traveling around. But if some people can download it, maybe they can make their own, and we're being more open and transparent. So I kind of agree with Martha anyway. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor LeBlanc.
Thank you. I think with this motion, that's exactly what it's going to do. We're going to try to provide the best. We can't provide it now. However, we're going to work on that. And then what we can do is what Carolyn and other people are doing by helping the people who need to have it that can't download it. So I think this motion sends us in the right direction, and we'll be waiting to see what solutions we can find to help our residents that have a slow capacity or non-capacity of downloading certain things. Thank you.
All right. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you very much. And that brings us to correspondence. Our first piece of correspondence is from the Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation, simply informing us of some of the work that they're doing right now. Can we have a motion to receive this information? Moved by Councillor Sheridan, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion on the motion. Councillor LeBlanc?
I think this is quite interesting because I've looked at this before, and there is some opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities out for this particular thing to help us out, but we need somebody to go 50 opportunities out, I guess is what I'm going to say, because when it goes out by helping schools and healthcare and roads, etc. They did the support for sports, support for culture, support for communities. We might be able to conduct or obtain some of these monies for the sports hub or any of such things, correct? So I'd like to make a motion that to direct the CAO to check out what kind of programs the county could apply to help and improve the county essential services that we need, or direct in the services that we need, and try to bring it back to the committee of the whole, if possible.
Right now we do have a motion on the floor, but once this one's resolved, you could certainly make that motion, Councillor LeBlanc.
Okay, great, thank you.
So anything further on the motion to receive? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion's carried. Councillor LeBlanc, please proceed.
I'd like the motion to read something to what Carolyn is going to correct me on. To direct the CAO to check out what kind of programs the county could apply for to help out in the sports hub or any other area in our county and to bring back to the committee of the whole, possibly October or November.
Okay. So that's to investigate potential funding opportunities for the Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation that could apply to council initiatives.
Second.
Seconded by Councillor Gunn. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. So this gaming authority, is that the same as Atlantic Lotto? Because you know you listen to the tube sometimes, and the Atlantic Lotto will be on there, and they'll be saying all the wonderful things that they do around Cape Breton and places like that, and you know other places besides the rest of Nova Scotia. They never put a sign up. I think when they fund something, they say, "Oh, no, Atlantic Lotto's been here," or Nova Scotia Gaming. So I really don't know where this money or how it ever gets back in the system. I know the government takes it and they make lots on the lottery tickets and all the rest of it. But how it ever gets back in, I don't know. You know, they say they put thousands and millions of dollars back in the sports and the rest of it, but you got to scratch your head, or I do, as to where they're actually putting it. Be nice to actually know. Thank you.
John, you'd like?
You can ask for the Atlantic Lotto Corporation. They will bring people to present. Maybe if the best thing would be for them to come in and explain how they work with government and how the money is managed between the Atlantic provinces, and then what departments does it go to, and then what are the funding opportunities. They have in the past come to municipalities and presented. And perhaps we should ask that if that would be okay with Councillor Diane LeBlanc, then they can maybe bring that in, and then there's a recorded video of what programs are available. Maybe we should ask them to come and present.
Perfect.
Sure.
Right.
What is the motion?
Would you like to add that to the motion,
Sure.
Councillor LeBlanc?
Yes.
And invite a representative of the Nova Scotia Gaming Corporation to present to a future committee of the whole?
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. Is the seconder all right with the amendment to the motion?
Sounds really good. Thank you.
Okay.
Good idea, John.
All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. Next, we have a letter from the Cornwallis Community Gardens informing us about the donation they've had of a gazebo from the Acadia Sea Plants.
Move to receive.
Thank you. Move to receive for information, seconded by Councillor McDonald. And that was moved by the Deputy Warden. Discussion on the motion. Councillor Morrison.
Thank you. I will not be participating in the vote. The writer of the email and the manager of the Cornwallis Community Gardens Association are one and the same person, my wife.
Thank you very much. Councillor LeBlanc.
I was just thinking that I can't wait to go see this lovely gazebo down in that area, and it's great that to see that we had two great donations to be able to build such a structure. So thank you, and thank you to Elizabeth. I'll be going to visit.
Sounds like a nice place to go play some music one day.
Yes, I agree, when the setting is right.
Councillor McDonald.
I just like to recognize that that this is a project that was completed with the support of private industry,
Yes.
municipal government, local society, and residents of their community. And when you have that three-pack together, you can get amazing things done in your community, and in this case, something that looks pretty spiffy, according to the letter.
Excellent. Anything further? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you. And finally, Southwest Nova Biosphere Association. And they're ready to thank us for our grant, but also to ask if we might permit a bit of flexibility in the use of $1,500, which we specifically earmarked to one project. And they're asking if they might have some flexibility to apply that to a different project as well. So first, a motion to receive. I'll ask for a motion to receive. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Gunn, seconded by Councillor LeBlanc. Discussion on the motion to receive. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. And now on the request itself, is council minded to agree to provide some flexibility on how those funds are spent? That's so moved by Councillor Fowler. I don't want to put words here. I think what we need is a letter to be sent from the municipality to tell them they can apply a portion of those funds to the development of the Science Atlas, which is what they're working on. Councillor Gunn.
Thank you. So the Amazing Places thing that they're putting together, it's I'm not quite sure, but it takes all these great little places we have, and I think they mentioned that in there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The science, and or maybe they didn't.
They say, however, a more immediate need may be the further development of the Science Atlas, which has been partially funded by the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. I'm not sure how much additional flexibility county can give us on the use of the 1,500, but any flexibility would be welcome.
Thank you. I guess to get back to what I was saying, I know they've got the Science Atlas and the Amazing Places thing going, and they're both really good programs. The Science Atlas will be used and added to for years and years to come. You know, even with this tracking COVID, it could have well been used. So I really encourage the idea. They're not going to squander the money, folks. They don't really get that much. I'll shut up. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Fowler?
Yeah, I just move that we send them that letter and let them go ahead.
All right. Seconder for your motion? Seconded by Councillor Gunn.
McNeil.
All right. And discussion on the motion? Councillor LeBlanc?
I think it's a good idea, and I'm hoping that, and I'm pretty sure that these will be provided to the schools in the area, as far as I can see, or from being it's for early childhood development, right? And education is going into it. I'd also like to see one going to council, to the county, so that we can have it on hand to demonstrate what this organization is doing. I know probably Mr. Gunn has already seen this or has some knowledge, more knowledge about this, which would be nice to see or share with other counselors at the table. And I do have a question. At one time we were discussing having a sign, did we not, posted in our area that we had a Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve Association part of it, that we were part of them. I thought we had some kind of motion that we were going to have the sign posted in our area or on our county signs or in our district somewhere. Just information, if I could have information of if I'm wrong or if the sign is coming or if it's there. I haven't seen it.
Councillor Gunn, can you speak to this?
Thank you. Yes, Councillor LeBlanc. We did get a sign posted. It's just outside of Middleton on the highway. It's quite a big one there. It's 4 by 8 or so. And we did make a motion here a while ago that we were going to add the Southwest Nova Biosphere Reserve logo in on our county brochures. It's just getting it locked in there. So that's been done. But the Science Atlas is an online form you can go and it'll come up. The Science Atlas will come up once you get hooked in. I'm not really great at computers, so I can't tell you. But once you get hooked into it, it comes up and it's layers. It's actually quite a wonderful concept. It's layers of information, and you pick your layer that you want to see. It's really
One
good.
more question?
I'll get you some more information coming up.
Perfect. And can I ask a follow-up question? So it was only one sign, it wasn't two?
No, just one. They're very expensive. They were like, that sign was like $18,000.
Well, that's why I thought we were doing two, and that's why I wanted to just. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion, folks? Not all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much.
And I just had a black screen for a reason.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it just went black.
Welcome to my world.
So what we have remaining is an in-camera session under the MGA 22-2C, which is personnel. But perhaps what we should do is I'll ask for the motion to go in camera, and we'll vote on that. But let's take a 10-minute recess before we actually begin, and that'll give us an opportunity to get a fresh cup of coffee or whatever else we might need. Could I have a motion to go in camera under the MGA section 22-2C personnel?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McNeil, seconded by Councillor Hemming. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Thank you very much. All right, thank you very much. Welcome back to the open portion of our regularly scheduled council meeting, folks. We have one matter arising from in camera to be added to our agenda. Could I ask for a motion to? Could you read how the item was described once again, Karen?
To add to the amend the order of the day by adding agreement with the Chief Administrative Officer.
Could I have a motion to add that to the agenda, please?
I'll move.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, seconded by Councillor Hemming. Discussion on the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Thank you very much. And could you read the suggested motion for us, Carol?
Suggested motion. I move that the agreement with the Chief Administrative Officer as prepared by the solicitor further to instruction given to him by council be approved and adopted by the council and signed by the warden and clerk.
Could I have a mover and a seconder, please? Could I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Hemming, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Discussion on the motion. Councillor McDonald.
I believe someone else did it, but not the clerk. Should not the CAO also sign it?
It'd be presented.
Yes, I said that. He should sign as well.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Warden. You're muted, Deputy Warden.
I will not be supporting this motion because I would like to see the documentation.
All right. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye. Aye.
What I'm going to do in that is I'm going to actually go through district by district. Just want to be very certain of our count. District 1, yes or no?
Aye.
Yes. Thank you. District 2?
I hear you, just a sec. I'm torn, sir. I agree with the clause, but I would also like to see the agreement.
Okay. How would you vote?
I guess as the vote is about the clause, I will vote yes.
Thank you. District 3?
Yes.
District 4?
Yes.
District 5? Did we just lose Councillor Hemming? I think we just lost Councillor Hemming. We'll go to District 6.
Yes.
District 7's myself, yes. District 8?
Yay.
District 9?
Yes.
District 10?
No, recorded.
Thank you. District 11?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion's carried. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm not certain what happened to Councillor Hemming. Certainly appreciate your time today. Enjoy the rest of your day. I declare the meeting adjourned.